Alright, we're back. It's episode 10 of Average Jim's Cooking Show. I really appreciate everyone watching. What we're going to do tonight was actually suggested by a viewer. I couldn't come up with anything and she gave me an idea. So we're going to make a basic meatloaf and some garlic mashed potatoes. So let's go over to our ingredients here. We're going to start, we've got about 3 pounds of ground beef. We've got a pound of bacon, salt, pepper, some Worcestershire sauce. Got some vegetables here. We've got mushrooms, green peppers. This is about half a green pepper here. This is a small onion. And this is actually only about 2 mushrooms. And I went ahead and diced it up pretty fine because when we mix it in with the meatloaf, I don't want big chunks of vegetable hanging off the edge there. We're going to use, this is about 1/4 cup of ketchup. Actually, that's closer to half a cup, really. We've got about a cup of breadcrumbs, 2 eggs, and then the parsley. We're going to use about half a cup of parsley with the meatloaf. For our potatoes, we're just using 6 regular potatoes. Got about 6 cloves of garlic. We're going to use about half a tub, so it's a cup of sour cream and some butter. So we're going to go ahead over here to our meat and get started putting everything together. Just a little bit of salt. You want to be pretty liberal with this because it is about 3 pounds of meat. Same with the black pepper. So we'll come in with our pepper mill. About a dozen, maybe 15, 16 good cranks of black pepper there. All the vegetables are just going to go right in with this. And we're just going to dump everything right in the bowl there. And get as much as you can in there. And then come back in. We've got Worcestershire sauce. This is pretty strong, so we're not going to use too much of that. Maybe about 6 or 8 good shots of that. Come in with our ketchup. This is going to add a little bit of sweetness to it. It's pretty traditional way it's done. So pour that in there. Crack our 2 eggs. There it goes. Just going to crack those. Watch out for flying shells. Crack those right in there. And then come in with our breadcrumbs. And this is just basically about 3 pieces of toast. I just cut up a little bit, crumbled up a little bit. Now here's the fun part. You get to mix all this stuff by hand. We're just going to mix it all together. So that's going to take a couple minutes. So while I'm doing that, we'll be back in a few minutes. Alright, now you can see what I've done with the bacon. I've basically lined a loaf pan. All you fans of EMT will definitely appreciate that. And then so what we're going to do, we've got everything mixed up. So we're going to start just loading it right into the loaf pan. And you want to pack it down pretty tight as you're doing it. Depending on the size of your pan, you can get just about everything in here. If you got leftovers, use them later. They'll store, make little hamburgers out of them. So we're going to go ahead, just load up this loaf pan. And then it's going to go into the oven. I'm going to cover it with tin foil. And we're going to cook it about 400 degrees. We're going to go for probably about half an hour. And then what you want to do, you want to check on it after about half an hour because there's going to be a lot of grease that comes out with all this bacon and all this, 3 pounds of hamburger meat in here. So it will cook down. I know it looks really full right now, but you just want to line it up there. So what we'll do, go ahead, like I said, just wrap a piece of tin foil right over it into the hot oven. Half hour, we're going to check it. This amount of meat is probably going to take about an hour and a half to cook, so you really want to watch it. So that's going to go in the oven, and then we'll be right back. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and check on our meatloaf. It's been in the oven almost an hour and a half, and I didn't tell you this, but best thing to do with your loaf pan is to put it into a bigger pan. Put a little water in the bottom because a lot of the grease will pour out. So we're going to pull our tin foil off. It's looking pretty good. So what we're going to do is go ahead and just take some ketchup, and we're just going to smother that across the top. Kind of an old school, traditional way to finish it off. And then we're going to, once we get the ketchup on, we're going to let it go in the oven about another 15 minutes. And we've about every half hour I've been coming in and pouring out a lot of the grease and the fat that's developed from the bacon and the meat. You don't want it boiling in fat. If it was a duck, I guess you could do it. It's called duck confit. But this is good old meatloaf. So finish up, about a half a cup of ketchup right there. Spread that all around. and it's going to glaze up a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and put that back in the oven real quick. And now's a good time to get started making your potatoes. Throw that in there. And one of the things we had with our potatoes were those 6 garlic cloves. We're just going to put those in a little pan, splash a little olive oil on them. We're going to just roast that garlic for about 10-15 minutes because that's going to go into our potatoes as well. So you're going to come over. I've peeled and diced up all the potatoes. So that's just going to go into a big pot of water. Careful, don't splash too much. And that's going to take about 15 minutes to cook. So we're going to put a lid on those and let those go. And when we come back, we'll finish putting everything together for the meal. Okay, our potatoes are still going, the meatloaf's going. What we're going to do now, we're going to make just a basic gravy. Got a hot pan. We're going to load that up with some butter, and we're going to take a little bit of flour. This is what people call a roux. So we're just going to pour some flour in there, and we'll add more if we need to. Now I'm going to this is some of the grease that drained out from the meatloaf, and I'm going to pour some of that in as well. That's going to help with the gravy. And we're just going to take a little bit of Worcestershire sauce just to kind of fortify the flavor a little bit. A couple good shots in there. And a little bit of water. Just pour that in. So we're going to, like I said, mix that up a little bit. Let it go on kind of a lower heat. We're going to turn it down a little bit now. We just want to get that butter start melting. So we're going to mix it, keep an eye on it. As it gets warm, it'll thicken up a little bit, so you may have to add more flour. We're just going to keep an eye on that. Get all the lumps out here. And then we'll check on the potatoes and we should be ready to go. Alright, we're back. We're going to go ahead and pull the meatloaf out of the oven. That's pretty well finished off cooking there. We're going to let it sit for about 5 minutes before we cut into it. And we've got our potatoes over here. They're boiled up. Took about 15 minutes. And then took our roasted garlic, just kind of diced that up. It'll get a little darker in color. That's fine. I'm gonna add that in. Pretty good pinch of salt there. Again, it's about 2.5 pounds of potatoes. Black pepper. Get that in there. Just a big handful of chopped parsley. Butter. It's probably going to be about 2 tablespoons. Get that mixed in there. And then we're going to come in with our sour cream. And you can use a potato masher or a stand mixer, whatever you want to mix this up with. So we're going to do that once I finish adding this in. And there you go. And then we'll be ready when we come back to plate everything up. We'll see you soon. Alright, so we're ready to go. We've got our potatoes whipped up. Now, adding the sour cream and butter does add a little bit of moisture into it, liquid. You may want to use some milk if you want your potatoes a little bit thinner. And then we're going to come in here and we're just going to pull a piece out. So that's got all that good stuff cooked in with it, the bacon and everything. Now this one's falling apart, but it should be okay. And then if you want to go with some gravy, we've got that there ready to go. And we're just going to garnish a little bit of parsley around the plate. And there you go, pretty simple meatloaf and potatoes. Alright, there you go. That was episode 10. Meatloaf and some garlic and parsley mashed potatoes. I enjoyed cooking it. I'm definitely going to enjoy eating it. I hope you enjoyed watching it. Again, if you want to leave me a comment, sometimes people who watch, they'll inspire me to make a meal just based on their suggestions. So, YouTube or Facebook, if you know me in person, talk to me or send me a text message. We'll see you pretty soon. Figure out what's going on for the next one. But as always, we'll see you next time. Take care.